Okay.
I mean,
Hello.
hi. Did you leave? Did you mainstream me or leave? I think you left. Did you just get dropped? And did I hijack the stream? On this stream? I think he got dropped. He's not back chatting. He said hello and dropped out. Let me end my YouTube stream. If anybody's still listening
Yo,
on my YouTube,
you hear me?
yeah.
Okay. You like that? How I'm like, I don't stream on my phone. It's ghetto. Look at what we're
And
doing.
I've had better streams through my phone than my laptop and shit before.
Why didn't you should have thought about this earlier?
I don't know why you didn't. I've
I'm trying to
my
help you out.
mobile internet used to be better streamable than my like internet. It's weird.
Mm.
All right, let me end this. And anybody still at my stream, go over to NPC the game. And you never do what I say anyway, so why would I expect you to do that? All right, I'll clean up those parameters that I can clean up offline. All right, I'm here. You didn't have to go live. I don't care that we're live, but you didn't have to go live.
No, that way if you get something, you can always, rip it or something. Something you need, right? This way.
Or if it's good
Oh, content.
content for you, you can
Yeah.
just leave it public.
Shit, we haven't done this in a while. Anyway, for
Yeah, I
uh,
started sleeping like a US time zone again for a
yeah.
while.
I'm always. You got me to checking my email. I used to never really check my email. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me close OBS.
No, I'm like, because I told myself, I'm like, oh shit, here comes the planes. Hold on. I don't want
Take
to be interrupted.
cover. Take cover. Most deadliest snake. Most poisonous. It gets like that in Denver too, because we got so many bases around here.
They come in threes or fours, so should be at least one
Yeah.
more. Let's see. That's it.
I used to fox with that Ace Combat series hard on. I guess I played it mostly on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Ace Combat was good. Yeah.
Ace Combat.
Yeah.
I remember Afterburner,
Yeah.
the
There's
arcade.
yeah. And then there was like a World War One airplane fighter that if you played that, it gave you like a good relativity between propeller engines and like jet engines. Like a whole other
Hmm.
world.
So there was more of a flight simulator type game.
Um, I'm not even thinking it was all the same game, but they were maybe the same company or just similar layouts. But like, yeah, you could tell, or maybe it was a game where it had both, and then just the difference was
Yeah.
crazy. Oh no, I'm losing
Did
a lot
you?
of my older gaming memory.
What are you replacing it with?
I just losing it because
Hanover.
it's not a regular thing. It's not like an everyday thing.
Yeah.
All right,
That's why you
I'll
could
bring
tell
it.
maybe you're most likely you were in the shit with your military stuff is because I noticed you don't really talk about it, but there's other people I see online that are always talking about the shit that they did or whatever. Or, you know, it's funny.
Well, I've talked about mine, and it's gone about as far as it goes because it's not that I was in this shit. I know people that were in this shit, but my military was. I had 2 weeks of AIT left, and I got pulled out for some like personal business back home. And they
Hmm.
were like, "Yeah, they're like, it's just a general discharge. You just got to wait 2 years before you come back." And I was 18, so it's like you tell an 18-year-old he's got 2 years to come back in the military, your life's going to be totally different by the time that two
Yeah.
years passes. So I just never went back. But it
Okay.
still benefited me all through my life.
Yeah.
Like to be trained for military cop and then not do it, but it still benefited me in various ways.
I bet.
Yeah. Like even here, in the Panelverse.
Yeah. You're the sergeant of arms of the panel works,
Yeah.
or
And
something
just
like
the
that.
attention to detail. That's what the military really instills in high school kids that just got out of high school. It's attention to fucking detail. Like,
Hmm.
and they stay on. Like
Yeah.
some drill sergeants would just write down the day and the time on a little slip of paper and slide it in something just so in the future they can prove you ain't been cleaning that. Like, oh, you've been dusting up over here? You've been dusting up over this? Why's my little dated timed piece of paper still here? And you're fucked. You're fucked.
That's some diabolical shit, like Lil
Oh, it is.
Neeson, where he puts like a little piece of paper or paper clip to see if anyone was trying to get in his house that no one would
Yep.
notice is him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I used to do shit like that. It's like you can tape something over to see if the tape's been broken or even if it's been peeled off and replaced. Um, I learned from whenever I was a swag lord on the East Coast, and this chick that I was staying with was hacking my box. She was picking the lock on my box and taking money out.
Hmm.
Um, I learned to just take my wads of cash and put them in a pants pocket and leave that at the bottom of my dirty laundry, and never
Yeah.
got stolen from again.
She didn't do laundry, huh?
Well, it was my stuff. Like she definitely did her laundry and crap and
Uh-huh.
her kids' laundry, but uh I used to sleep downstairs because sometimes I'd have girls over and shit. And when I was sleeping alone, I would hear her walk down the hall into my room. Like my stuff was upstairs in my room, but I'd sleep downstairs on a mattress down there. And I'd hear her go in my room at after a certain hour. And so once I realized money was missing, I knew that's what she was doing. So
Yeah,
I
because there's
I
no
set
reason
her
for
up
her
to
to
check.
go up there if you're downstairs sleeping
Well,
instead of just.
it was her house and her bedroom was up there too because it was her parents'
Oh,
old house that she was living in. Um, but yeah, there was no reason for her to go down the hall at night into my room, and I could tell that's what her fat ass was doing because I could just hear her walking, even if she was trying to creep it. But I still set her up with like I got it down to where I just left a $5 bill in the box and she still took it. I was like, it was the only bill in the box and you still took it. It was too obvious. But
that's
wha-
what they call the young kids call crash out. She crashed out for $5. She threw it all away. It
you
was
know,
really worth it. Yeah,
and I called her out on it and her parents were gonna come visit soon. I was like, you'll either pay me that money back or just before your parents get here, I'll just take a sledgehammer to these walls and shit. Because they were the people I knew in high school. Her and her brother were my friends from high school that they were racially Jewish. And
yeah.
her brother was like Jewy as far as if we played poker for pocket change and shit, he would just like Jew the poker game out. And like I can't even explain all the ways he was so Jewish.
Hmm. He probably couldn't even. He just isn't.
No, he knew.
But
He knew. I mean, he knew he was of Jewish DNA, and he had the hook nose and tan skin, the curly dark hair. He would act Jewish. His name was Zeke. Um, uh, they had a Jewish
alright.
last name too, but they were a Christian family though.
Yeah.
Um, actually, whenever I DJ'd our friend's wedding, I went to the wedding and just would go to the reception and start DJing.
Hmm.
When we were sitting in the church, I sat down next to that chick that I think I already lived. I don't know if I stayed there yet, but I would stay with her. But there were old ladies sitting in front of us, and I went, "Oh, Angelica, good to see you made it in without bursting into flames." And like the old church hens kind of give each other a smug look, like he must know Angelica too, because she was kind of a whore around town and stuff. But that's how she
Oh,
made friends with. Well, she dated my one skater friend, but I guess she knew us from like bands and parties. She would like, I don't know. She was one of those high school people.
Yeah.
Uh, the uh, the thrift store corduroys and shit. And I won't deny I was that too, but I cleaned up better, I guess.
Grunge.
I ain't gonna lie, she sucked my dick a time or two, whatever, whatever. But that was back in high school. It wasn't when I lived with her. We had the deal whenever I lived with her. The deal was I watched her kids while she was at work, and she didn't always have her kids. She had shared custody with the baby daddy. I'd watch them while she was at work, and then once she had them, I could sell swag out of her house all live long day.
Mm.
That's how I got my move to Colorado money saved up.
Mm. Yeah.
Actually, when I started living there and I was still dishing, I didn't know I was coming to Colorado. And then talking to my buddy while we were playing Gears of War 1, that's whenever he was like, "You should come out here." He was like, "I took an IED and I'm not dead. You should come out, make up for old time."
Yeah. He
Yeah, I
had all
hadn't
his
seen him
limbs.
since high school.
He was intact.
Yeah, I mean, he did one of the good ways you get fucked up. Like he took an IED explosion and he still did some heroic shit. He had to go talk about at banquets and crap. Um, but after he fell out from that,
Hmm.
he woke up in the States in Walter Reed Hospital. Like he was unconscious the entire flight from Middle East back to America. They already had him posted up in Walter Reed by the time he woke up from all the morphine
Hmm.
and shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Basically, they were transporting prisoners, and an IED went off. I guess they were gonna try and liberate whoever survived the IED. And the one guy that was taken off, Chris just shot him as he was trying to get out of the vehicle. And then he pulled his medic out of the vehicle who had totally lost his calf muscle in the explosion. And he pulled like a mounted gun off of the vehicle and just started shooting into the darkness in all directions. Because usually, if your vehicle got hit by an IED, it's going to get ambushed and there's a
Hmm.
follow up. But
Yeah.
he didn't know. He said at some point he realized there was just hot metal in his body and he just wanted it out. But it wasn't a bullet. It was like some shrapnel, and he's got a scar on his back that's probably a good softball size, somewhere between baseball and softball size scar on his back. And for the most part, he got off relatively good for what pay he'll make. Like Talcott pulls like 300 a month for whatever his injury was. For the rest of my friend's life, he'll get like 40K a year.
Yeah.
And he still could like bounce at a club and get buff and do roids and stuff. Like he legit gets that damage money, but it's nothing that I think would debilitate him as far as the injury.
I know they always like my marine blood brother. He's always talking. He was always talking about I need to get that 100%, 100% on the
And a lot of them, that's why I think they're so hard on the medical, because all of them are trying for that. Like
Mhm.
all of them are trying to get as high as a medical discharge percent as they can. 100%, I think you got to have like concussion, head problems, and or be one of these guys that lost both legs or something like that that
Oh
are on the two bouncy legs.
yeah, I'm pretty sure he's like 90 or 100. Now for psychological stuff, does it count?
I don't know. Hey,
Uh,
what's up, Wildlife? He's passing me an envelope of
what's up,
money.
Watt? Georgia Bulldog.
Joja, Joja boy, Joja
Tommy, what
bulldog.
about bro? What are you trying to put flex on? Not flex, but you told Flo. I remember hearing about like you had the people ended up dead. Um, the mafia, the 6 degrees, some separate Kevin Bacon shit, like all that crazy shit. Your enemy ended up dead. Now those stories gonna be
Yeah,
in the membership someday.
they probably. I mean, I've told him on some panels. I'm not sure where I've told him, but I have told him before. There are ways I strategically tell it. Like the cop that was up my ass that's dead now. he just turned a four-wheeler over on himself, probably broke his neck or something. And then
Hmm.
the guy that led the crew of dudes that home invaded me, he just OD'd on speedballs. But had I stayed in town and had he kept being around, we probably would have. He was definitely avoiding me because
Hmm.
they still told themselves I didn't know who they were, even though I called out a couple of their names. And because they just came in the classic cowboy bandanas around their face.
Yeah.
And the only one I didn't know was one they probably had from out of town, and he was the bigger dude that I hit with the golf club, like bent the golf club over him. Um, I have told those stories, but there's ways I strategically tell them that make them sound like more hardcore, like
Hmm.
saying the cop that was on my case is dead, and my prime home invader's dead. Yeah, they both got themselves deceased. They're blooding on my hands, but it was a story of me just trying to find somebody to give me quantities of swag to dish, and before I knew it, I was like a Kevin Bacon from New Jersey mob level and stuff. But they were all dealing in like coke and stuff, and I just stuck with the swag, and it just ended up that my hookup was trying to stay anonymous by having our mutual friend bring it, even though it was kind of like an unspoken, we all know who it is. But
Hmm.
his little brother's always been fucking stupid. His little brother's always been retarded to a fault. Um, and a local cop was fucking his baby mama. His baby mama was a pretty hot black chick, and and a cop was fucking her too. And that dude was just a fuck up through and through. And so he thought I was the hookup to the guy that was coming to my place. He saw the guy coming to my place and thought I was his hookup rather than he
Hmm.
was bringing me the stuff.
Yeah.
So they home invaded me thinking they were hitting the hookup up.
Yeah.
And he's stupid, so I owed that guy like thousands of dollars that they'd never pursued me for because obviously if your brother's the one that home invaded on me, it looks like an inside job. And I think they were smart enough to just leave it at what it is than risk looking like the inside job and then still pressing me for money that I shouldn't be paying them back.
Wow.
And that was because I was good to just pay up front and buy it as I needed it. But I guess I was so moving it so well that he just kept showing up with like pounds, like 2 or 3 pounds at a time. I'd be like, I'm not done with the last stuff. He's like, it's okay, we'll write it down. We'll just keep track of it. He just kept
Yeah.
loading it and loading it. Before he knew it, I was like between like 4 and 8 grand in debt. And I wasn't worried about it, but I was telling him, like, bro, I'm starting to get hot. Like people are leaving my house and getting cased by cops. Like one kid that always walked, he left and then hit me up after he left. He was like, "Bro, I had to dip down a couple alleys. Cops were like following me when I left." I was like, "Thanks for telling me." But is what
Yeah.
it was is my upstairs neighbor that was my friend. She was a popular local bartender, and she'd
Hmm.
even bring bar people home and like after party at her apartment above us. And then I was having a hot swag spot where I said, if I don't have anything, I'll lock the door. But if I'm good, just walk in so people don't see you standing there knocking. And before you know it, we had that building like hot, hot. The block was hot off that building. Just between bartender parties and me dishing swag, there was a lot of foot traffic. And we still managed to brush it off for a long time because there was stuff that wasn't sketchy that did make it more sketchy. Like my roommate was sitting on a big inheritance from his dead grandmother. So whenever we moved in, we paid like 5 or 6 months up front. And we were just,
Hmm.
whenever in hindsight, she tried to say, "Oh, I should have known you were dealing weed out of here." I was like, no, that actually was his inheritance money. We aren't drug lords. I just had that swag looking hoopty and put classic wheels on it. Like I was doing all right, but they were also giving me a real hard price on swag, and I was still making it work. And then once all that went down and it was pretty much called off with them, whenever I moved in with that chick, my local friend was just like, "Oh, I got this guy that I get weed off of," and it was better weed at a better price, and I just flourished. Like it's like I shook the New Jersey mob guys, and then just off my other casual friend that I online gamed with. He's also the one that him and his wife, anytime I went back to visit, they'd have a 304 like pre-prepared for me, like
That's when you
the
got the
Puerto
Puerto Rican,
Rican
huh?
chick. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was them. They'd always have a girl ready for me when I was coming back. Um, yeah, he got better weed at a better price, and I just flourished to save the money to come out here. And then even whenever I was coming out here, he was just naturally gonna quit. Either that guy stopped or his hookup stopped. Something was happening where it worked out that I was moving here anyway because that connection was coming to a close for some reason too. So it all just kind of worked out in the long run.
Mm.
But when I got buff and went back there to box in that tournament, I was seeking out two of the guys of the home invader crew. One was the brother that was stupid, and
Mm-hmm.
the other one's the one that is last I heard, he lives like 60 miles away in Colorado Springs. I don't know if he moved there looking for me or what. Um, but
Wait, you came from the East Coast all the way to
yeah,
Colorado? Like, wow.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So I don't know if he's down there looking for me or why he came to Colorado. Um, but the dude who I was going the stupid brother, he went by the same nickname as his dad, and his dad used to do that boxing tournament all the time. So that's how we caught the wrong rumor that he would be fighting in it. It's like his
Mm.
dad used to have that nickname and was known to win that boxing tournament because he has like an unorthodox style that people aren't used to. And so
Mm.
when I thought the stupid brother would be there, neither of them were because whatever reason is the other dude didn't fight that year and the stupid brother wasn't common for it. But I still fought in it. But that's
Mm.
why we expected that dude to be there. It was his dad that usually fought it.
It would have been retribution. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
I
Tommy.
would have put.
Tommy, I'm gonna bounce. Do you need to use the live? Because I can leave. You can use it. I gotta go pick up my
No, no,
son.
we didn't even. I forget what we were gonna talk about that Talcott shit or something, and
Yeah.
maybe
We're gonna do the
yeah.
ruthless
Oh,
stuff too.
were you saying you didn't see the new world record video?
Yeah, I didn't see it in that. Yeah.
You
It's
got
a
60
video.
minutes? Yeah.
Nah, I gotta go right now. I gotta go.
All right.
I had to go yesterday.
All
Like
right.
that shit.
What time? Approximately how many hours from now is your European thing?
It's 5 hours from now.
Okay,
Yeah.
I might be able to make it. I'll see what happens.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
if you want to save that story for when I can tell it better, you don't have. I don't care if you leave this public, but I don't care if you don't.
Wow, that was fire, bro. For my curiosity, I'm all about the lore. That was yeah,
Okay.
that was good. Yeah, appreciate
All
it.
right. All
All
right.
right, I'll talk to you
Later.
soon. Peace.